The coffee shop was buzzing with the usual morning chaos, machines hissing, cups clinking, orders being shouted across counters. But in the middle of that noise, one young barista stood out. Her name was Elena, a woman in her mid-twenties with bright, attentive eyes and a smile that somehow managed to calm even the most impatient customers. That morning seemed no different from the hundreds she had worked before. She tied her apron tighter, brushed back a loose strand of hair, and prepared for another stream of people rushing in with tired faces and desperate pleas for caffeine. But she had no idea her life was about to change. The bell above the door chimed. A tall man in his late 50s walked in, dressed plainly in a navy jacket and jeans. There was nothing outwardly remarkable about him, yet his presence seemed to carry a certain quiet weight. He scanned the busy cafe and stepped into line. Elena noticed him almost instantly, not because of who he was, but because of the confusion flickering across his face as he looked up at the English-only menu. When his turn came, he hesitated. Latte, he asked softly, with a thick accent that suggested English wasn't his strongest language. Elena leaned forward and asked gently, "Would you like hot or iced?" The man frowned, clearly not understanding. He looked frustrated. Elena tried again, this time switching to Spanish, "Caliente o frío?" His eyes widened, surprised, but he shook his head. Then she switched to French. "Chaud ou glacé?" His face softened slightly, but he still didn't respond. Without missing a beat, Elena tried again in Mandarin, then Italian, and finally German. By the sixth attempt, the man's entire demeanor shifted. His eyes lit up with relief as he answered, "Heiß, bit. Hot, please." The line behind him, which had started to grow restless, suddenly went quiet. People had noticed. Elena had just spoken 6 different languages fluently, just to help one confused customer order a coffee. She simply smiled, rang up his drink, and carried on as though it was no big deal. But to the man, it was a very big deal. He collected his latte and sat quietly in the corner, observing. While Elena continued serving, he noticed something else: her attentiveness to every single customer. She remembered names, offered encouragement to the stressed-out student preparing for an exam, and even slipped an extra cookie to the elderly woman who said she couldn't afford a pastry that week. Elena wasn't just serving coffee, she was serving kindness. What no one knew, not Elena, not her manager, not the regulars, was that the man sipping his latte was Victor Lang, a global CEO and billionaire. He owned one of the largest international companies in the world, a corporation spanning dozens of countries and millions of employees. Yet here, in this small cafe, he was just another customer who had almost been overlooked. Victor had built his empire on numbers, strategy, and efficiency, but watching Elena, he realized he was witnessing something his spreadsheets and boardrooms could never capture: genuine humanity. When the rush slowed, Victor approached the counter again. "You speak many languages," he said carefully, still in German. Elena smiled. "I grew up in a multicultural neighborhood. My mom always told me that language is the bridge to understanding. I try to use it whenever I can." Victor nodded slowly. "And why work here with your skills? You could do much more." Elena laughed softly, though there was a shadow in her eyes. "Dreams take time. I'm saving money. Someday, I want to work internationally, help connect people who feel out of place, the way my family once did when we first moved here. But for now, this is where I am." Victor said nothing more, just gave her a small nod of respect and left. Elena assumed that was the last she'd see of him. But it wasn't. 2 weeks later, the cafe manager called Elena into the office. She walked in nervously, worried she had done something wrong. Instead, she found the manager grinning and holding a letter on expensive stationery. "Elena," he said, "you've been invited to interview for a position at Lang International." Her jaw nearly dropped. "Wait, that's impossible. I didn't even apply." The manager handed her the letter. "Apparently, someone noticed your exceptional linguistic skills, empathy, and leadership qualities." Elena's hands trembled as she read. At the bottom of the letter was a signature: Victor Lang. The man with the latte. The interview felt like a dream. Instead of a formal grilling, Victor personally met with her. He explained what he had seen that morning in the cafe. "You solved the problem with patience, creativity, and respect," he told her. "That is exactly what leaders in my company must do every day, across cultures and borders. Technical skills can be taught. Humanity cannot." Tears welled in Elena's eyes. She had never imagined that simply being herself, kind, attentive, willing to listen, would lead to something so extraordinary. She accepted the offer, beginning her journey as a cultural liaison, helping teams across the globe communicate and collaborate. And though her surroundings changed, airports instead of coffee machines, boardrooms instead of cafe counters, her heart remained the same. Months later, while sitting in a high-rise office overlooking a foreign city, she thought back to that morning. She realized something profound: you never truly know who you are serving, who you are speaking to, or how deeply a small act of kindness can ripple. For Victor Lang, a simple latte had revealed the kind of leader his billion-dollar company needed. For Elena, a single moment of compassion had unlocked the future she had been dreaming of. And for everyone who heard her story, one message became clear: greatness doesn't begin with power or wealth, it begins with humanity.